I know that the Detroit Lions are the best team in football, but the Houston Texans aren't afraid.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work, work. That's what you say. Hard work, work, work. Earn my pay. Hard work, work. Hard work, do it every day. Hard work, work. Get up out of 2:45. Hard work, work. To go and earn my pay. Hard work, work. Boots on.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard, so before I even get this show started, let me say this. That intro that you all missed out on because StreamYard is tripping for real. And I think that had something to do with I guess they sent us an alert this morning. I really got to start reading all of the terms and conditions. Y'all read the terms and conditions? I mean, I normally do, but I was like, maybe they just talking about as long as the price don't change. I got to start reading some of these terms and conditions because this is the second time in a row my show has been affected. My intro, my really good intro, has been affected by StreamYard. So I'm gonna send them. Something because we need to get this thing together. You know what? Let me write this down, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Terms and conditions, because I want to come back to that. Now, for those of you all who missed it, including everybody, I said even though the Detroit Lions have the best team in football, the Houston Texans aren't afraid. Like those Houston Texans players, they're not afraid. So that was the intro. Now let's go ahead and do this thing like we normally do it. Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuned to the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk. Damn, I got a good mic because I didn't even have a mic next to me. I'm just loud because I'm from Texas. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end because you know we do everything for the gram. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Big Sarge Media, and make sure you subscribe to the Locked On Texans podcast and the Locked On Texans YouTube page. All right, what's going on, y'all? Y'all know what it is. It's Freestyle Friday. You know how we do it on Freestyle Friday. We just go for what we know. That's it. We just want to talk right here. Now, don't get me wrong. I got some things I want to talk about why Alperin Şengün, Houston Rockets center, needs tough love. And we're going to talk about how the Houston Texans aren't afraid of the Detroit Lions, but it's something I want to get back to, something I didn't even have any plans on talking about until now. Well, wait a minute. Y'all know we do not start this show off without, hello, Alexis. Alexis be the first one to say good morning as soon as this show started, and I appreciate that. Like, I don't feel like we could start the show until that, and then here we go. What's up, Marcus? What's good, Texans Underground? It's Friday, Red Day. Come on, man. Hey, you know what, though? You're right, because in the military, Friday is Red Day, and that's for remembering everyone deployed. So, yeah. Texas wearing battle red, son. They surely are. Let's go down. It's Friday. Who actually be at the game? Hey, they call me Mr. Nobody. What's going on, Dre? Matthew? D Skills? What's going on, y'all? All right, so look, before we get this show started, that brought me. How many of you all actually read the terms and conditions to everything? I try to go through. If I don't read all of it, I at least skim through the most part to see if anything's going to stand out. A lot of them are standard, but some of them you got to read that coded language because you get in there and you be like, wait a minute, what? What am I agreeing to? I didn't plan on agreeing to all of that. Hey, question. Does marriages come like should marriages come with terms and conditions written out so you could see them? I'm not talking about vows. I'm talking about, listen, these are the terms and conditions. Have I ever told y'all my theory? I got some theories when it comes to being married. And I got my theories on when it comes to like going to weddings and things like that. Real quickly, right before we even start this show, right before we even start this show. Um, one, you know how you have to always renew license and certifications. You know, you got to renew your license as far as your driver's license is concerned. If you're a realtor, you got to get your real estate license. You always got to make sure that you keep that updated. You always got to make sure that your hunting license, you got to always get that renewed. How come you don't have to get your marriage license renewed? Like, I think at some point, like, we should look, now that we got we about to have us a new president who, with him, all rules are off the table with him. Hey, how come somebody don't propose that? You got like a new president, and you about to have a new house, you about to have a new Congress, you about to have a newer Supreme Court. Hey, can somebody send that up to the Supreme Court? Like, hey, look, every 5 years you should renew your marriage license. My wife is going to kill me. It's okay. We just talk to the people. That way, if you could renew your marriage license every 5 years, then it wouldn't cost you so much if you had to get a divorce. You just be like, after year 5, you'd be like, this ain't gonna work for me. If it ain't gonna work for me, I mean, I'm pretty sure it ain't working for you. So instead of getting a divorce, we're just not gonna renew our license. And that's kind of like a divorce, right? We don't have to go through all the divorce proceedings. We're just not going to renew our license. We'll go to a smaller court so we could divvy up anything that has to do with like child support, assets, property, things like that. But we don't have to pay for a divorce lawyer. We just go to court and we settle this thing amicably between us. Or come year 10, you be like, hey, this ain't working out for me. How you looked in year 5 ain't how you looked in year 10, or how you acted in year 5 ain't how you was acting in year 8. How come they can't just go ahead and make you renew your marriage license like they do everything else? That would probably be very good for this society. But if this last election has shown you anything, I don't think people care about what's good for society. I'm not getting into politics. Y'all know I don't do politics, so we just gonna keep it moving. I think you should have to renew your marriage license. And then 2, this is the problem that I have. And don't get me wrong, we're going to get into some sports talk in just a second. But this is the problem that I have when it comes to weddings. I feel like if I come to your wedding and I buy you a good gift, and then y'all get divorced before 5 years, like if you get divorced after 3 years, if you don't last at least 5 or more, how about that? 5 or more. If you get divorced in 5 or less, I think you owe me some money. Now, what we'll do is we'll look at the gift and we'll take the depreciation value from year 1 to year 5. And whatever the cost of that gift is in year 5, I'm not asking you to give me all my money back. I'm not asking you to give me all my money back from year 1, but year 5, right? If you don't make it to year 5, if you only make it to year 3, we need to see the appreciation. We need to see how much the gift I gave you in year 1 has depreciated to year 3, and then you should give me my money back. You should be like, hey, man, it didn't work out. Because, like, I watched both of y'all stand up there and say that this was going to be forever. For richer or poor, through sickness and health, till death do us part. Ain't neither one of y'all dead. Y'all just couldn't live with each other, be with each other after 3 years. So, hey, man, I'm going to need some of that back. I spent my hard-earned money to give you this gift to say, hey, man, here you go. I feel like that this bond that you all are developing is amazing. I wish the best for you for life. Not for 3 years. Not for less than 5 years. If it's less than 5 years, if I come to your wedding and I give you a gift and you get a divorce in 5 years or less, you are going to receive an invoice from Big Sarge Media LLC. Them just the rules. That's how it should be. Right? Am I lying? Come on now. I know I can't be the only one that thinks that. So, with that being said, hold on for 1 second, because there's some people who don't know. There you go. Before we get this show started, let me go ahead and welcome everybody that's just come in. I appreciate you all being here. Before we start talking about the Texans aren't afraid of the Lions, and that I think that the that Alper and Shingun needed tough love from head coach Email Doka. Before we start talking about that, and before we get into this Freestyle Friday, for those of y'all who are just coming on, I talked about terms and conditions, and I wonder why there's not like a printed copy of term and conditions when it comes to marriages. And then I said that just like you have to renew every other license, your marriage license should have to be renewed too. That way, if y'all don't want to, every 5 years, that way, if y'all don't want to be together after, leading up to year 5, you'd be like, hey, let's just let our license, look, let's just let our license run out. Some of y'all will have y'all license suspended because you got caught cheating. And I said that if I give you a gift at your wedding and you don't stay married long than 5 years, you owe me some money back. Some of y'all would. You'd be like, hey, bro, what's going on? Why you feel so down? Man, my marriage license got suspended. What? What you mean your marriage license got suspended? She called me, dog. Caught you doing what? Man. All right. Oh, hey, what's going on? Hey, Cheryl, how you doing? Why your face all scrunched up? My marriage license got suspended. What? What happened? He called me with my work husband, which is another story for another time. Oh, we're going to talk about these work spouse relationships. Oh, let me tell y'all something. In my former life, I used to do skits too. I was doing skits way before all these other people was doing skits. I talked about a lot of things. Buzzed and Petty. Y'all remember the Buzzed and Petty podcast? Anyway, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the sports. You're tuned into the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. All right, let me jump into this thing real quick. All right. So, with the Houston Rockets, have a head coach at Ime Udoka who, like, he don't play the radio. He's like D'Amico Ryans. He don't play the radio. And he's going to play whoever is the best at the position at the time. He's going to play who's ever best at the position at the time. So during the game, it doesn't matter if a starter is a starter. If they're not playing well, he's going to pull them off the floor and sit them on the bench. And they know why. They've been around Ime Udoka long enough to know, hey, all right, it's like the Houston Texans. If you ain't playing the best at your position, D'Amico going to give you an opportunity and a chance, but he will bench you. He will make some changes. He doesn't mind making changes coming into any game. AD, where you at, AD? AD, are you here? AD, check in. You know why I need you to check in? Because AD, where you at, man? Where are you, bro? AD, there you go. Hey, look, because head coach D'Amico Ryans is not afraid to make changes coming into any game. Yay! He ain't afraid to make any changes. Then I said, woo! Some of y'all don't know where that comes from. Just go back and watch Magic Johnson when he was talking about when they were practicing for the Olympics for the Dream Team. He was talking about the battle that him and his team and Michael Jordan's team had. And then y'all remember he came down, he said, man, I came down and I did that. I was like, hee! And then I came down, I was like, woo! I digress. Ime Udoka is exactly like D'Amico Ryans. They both want to play. No, it ain't the AD and Sarge show. He just know. He just know, Corey. He's not afraid. So there was a lot of uproar throughout the first 6 games of the Houston Rockets season because Ime Udoka kept benching Alperen Şengün. He kept benching Alperen Şengün. And all of these Alperen Şengün stands. Now, listen, I don't know how active you all are on the app formerly known as Twitter, but if you active and you're a Houston Rockets fan and you say anything that that Şengün stands don't agree with, they're going to attack you. Not only on domestic soil, but international soil too. Because he has a lot of fans in Turkey that if you say anything about Alperen Şengün that does not fit their narrative, which is you got to say all good things about him, next thing you know, here we go. Now all of a sudden you're the dumbest person to ever talk basketball. You don't know basketball, when all the while you can't just talk about what you see. And if Alpy's playing bad, Alpy's playing bad. And Ime don't care about nothing else but winning games. He does care about his players, but he also wants to win games. And his players understand and they know that. They know that if they're not playing good, they will be benched. He has benched Jalen Green. He has benched Fred VanVleet. He has benched Dylan Brooks, Jabari. He will bench starters. Prime example, when they were down 31 points against the Golden State Warriors last Saturday, when they were down 31 points, he benched the majority of them. In that game, Alpy only played 21 minutes. They were down 31 points, came back in that game. And when they came back in that game, the majority of the starters weren't even on the court. And the only reason Fred VanVleet played that amount of time because he needed a ball handler on the floor. So he was switching him and Aaron Holiday out. But for the most part, when Aaron Holiday was on the floor, there was a lot of players that didn't really get a lot of playing time that was on the floor. And so Alperen Şengün wasn't one of those players that was on the floor. He understood that. Alpy understood that the first 6 games, he was not playing well. He was missing a lot of easy shots. When we got a chance to talk with him, I had talked after the Golden State game when the Houston Rockets lost in overtime. And side note, hey, the Houston Rockets got a good team. If you're not supporting the Houston Rockets or gotten a chance to watch them, if you're not a supporter, just go and watch them. There's going to be times where you're going to be like, what are they doing? They'll go through, just like any other team, they'll go through periods in a game where they're not playing well. Like, for some reason, the last 3 minutes of the second quarter, the last 3 minutes of the first half, they tend to have just a meltdown, a break. Like it seems like they don't know what they're doing. And so, but coaches talked about that. The players have talked about that. But the Rockets got a really good team. And so Alpy wasn't playing good. He only played 21 minutes against the Golden State Warriors. So we talked to coach afterwards, asked him why. And then he said, Alpy he's out of rhythm. He's not playing well. Şengün is not playing. He's not playing well. And so hold on for a second. What up, Joe? A good team compared to well, let's just look at it like this. Let me side note for a second. If we keeping it a buck, if we keeping it 100, I'm gonna keep this up right here. If we keeping it 100, if you look at the teams, if you look at the games that the Houston Rockets have lost, the Houston Rockets should actually have the same record as the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are undefeated. If you look at the games that they lost, the first game they lost, let me take this down. The first game that the Houston Rockets lost was to the Charlotte Hornets. They were down. They were up 18 points. They gave away an 18-point lead to the Charlotte Hornets, a team that if they played them today, they'd blow them out the water. They should have won that game. The second game they lost to the San Antonio Spurs on a back-to-back. After beating the Memphis Grizzlies the night before, they traveled to San Antonio the next game, got down 21 points, came back from being down 21 points, and just couldn't hit a shot at the end of the game. Dead legs finally caught up to him, using all that amount of energy, right? So that's 2 games. Charlotte, they should have won. They were up by 18. San Antonio, they came back. They had some really good shots. They just didn't hit them. The third loss, they were down 31 points to the Golden State Warriors. Came back, got that game into overtime. And once again, when you get down by that amount of when you get down by double-digit points like that, using all of that energy, exerting all of that energy to be able to come back takes a toll on you. And actually, the team, not the team that has the lead, not only do they have the advantage, and I know that we know that, Captain Obvious. We know that they have the advantage because they do have the lead, but they also conserve energy because they do have the lead. The team that doesn't have the lead is using the team that is trailing is using them the most amount of energy to try to come back. And so when they got down to the Golden State Warriors and they did come back and took them to overtime, they lost. So we're talking about 3 losses. So at least 2 of those games. Hold on, we're gonna get into it. Suns, Warriors, Suns, then the Mavs and Timberwolves will be coming. I'm saying it's very early. Well, they done beat the Mavs already. They beat the Mavs in they beat the Mavs in Dallas. They can beat the Suns. The Suns have the Suns are top heavy. The Suns are top heavy with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal. But after those 3 are gone, their team is pretty much depleted. They got a put together roster, and I understand they went out and they got they got a point guard from somewhere. I can't remember where he came from. I have to look at their roster. But when you look at the Suns, the Mavs, yes, the Timberwolves are a very good team, right? The Timberwolves are a very good team. Once they get their chemistry together, they'll be a whole lot better. So I'm not saying that the Houston Rockets are as good as the Timberwolves right now, especially with the run that they went on, but what they're doing and where they're developing, then they are the way that they are developing, they're starting to look a whole lot better. So we so as I digress, the Houston Rockets 5-3. They have a really good team. Alperen Sengun. After that Golden State Warriors game where he only played 21 minutes, him and coach had a talk. We got a chance to talk to Alpy during shoot around, and after shoot around, him and Coach Udoka had a talk. And I don't think it was one of those talks where they just sat down and exchanged pleasantries. I think it was one of those talks where Coach probably said, "Hey, Alpy, I think that you're a very talented player. You have a lot of talent. You have a lot of potential. You have a lot of upside. You do have the potential to be like a Nikola Jokic who plays for the Denver Nuggets. Jokic won the MVP 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, right? You have the opportunity to develop into a player like him. You're just going to have to make sure that you're doing it night in and night out. You're missing a lot of shots. I don't know what it's from. Coach told us during the press conference when I asked him the question about getting it back in rhythm, he said maybe he didn't come in shape. Now, don't get me wrong. In October, he did early October. He said that he was that Alpy came back in the best shape he's ever seen. But I think that he meant physically. I don't think he meant game shape, because a lot of people are pulling that sound bite and trying to say, well, you said he was in shape. Now you're saying he's out of shape. No, what he's saying is that body wise, Alpy came in and I've been covering Alperen Sengun since he got drafted by the Rockets. And each year you can tell that he's worked on getting his body better. He came in, and this is the leanest I've ever seen Alperen Sengun ever in his playing days. And so coach was saying maybe he's not in early game shape. Well, ever since that talk, right? And this may be the type of coaching that Alpy needs. This may be the type of coaching that Alperen Sengun needs. After that Golden State Warriors game, where are my notes at? Right here. Since then, Alperen, I keep calling him Alpy, and I'm talking about Alperen Sengun. He's averaged 20.5 points and 9.5 rebounds per game. Alpi is shooting over 70% in the paint. That's where the problem was coming from. He was not finishing at the rim. He kept missing a lot of easy shots that he normally makes. And we know that he missed the last 18 games out with the lower body injury, and he missed the last 18 games of last season. And so him getting back into actual NBA game shape could have taken could have taken a while because he hadn't played competitive basketball in so long. It had been months since he played competitive basketball. So that may have been where his rhythm was off and where he wasn't in shape as far as game shape is concerned, because he had missed so much time playing competitive basketball. But it looks like he's finally gotten it together, because he's average. I mean, he in the last 2 games, 20.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, over 70% points in the paint, and they're starting to look more effective. Now, what happens when Alperen Sengun gets going? What happens when he gets going outside of when you got Jalen, and when you got Jalen on the floor, and when you got Jabari on the floor, and you got Dylan on the floor? This is what happens when Alpi gets going. Because when Alpi wasn't, let me just start calling him Sengun. We call him Alpi so much. Let me start calling him Sengun. When Sengun gets going, what he does is he opens the floor for the rest of his team. But who he really opens the floor for is point guard Fred VanVleet. It's no coincidence that in 3 games prior to Sengun going off against the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs these last 2 games, it's no coincidence that Sengun struggled and VanVleet shot 28.6%, 15.4%, and 16.7% from the field 3 games prior to the Knicks and the Pistons. But as soon as Sengun started to become more effective, last 2 games, VanVleet averaged 20 points and 7 assists per game. Last 2 games against the Knicks from the field, 57.1% in the Knicks game, 90% in the Spurs game. He was 10 for 11, 3 rebounds away from getting a triple-double. So, yes, we know how effective Jalen Green is, especially when he gets to going downhill. Side note, hey, look, let me tell you why I respect Jalen Green so much. Did anybody else see him in this Spurs game hunting Victor Wembanyama, excuse me? Did anybody else see Jalen hunting him, calling for the pick and roll so he can get one-on-one with him? Because he knows that laterally he can't. Jalen even tried to dunk on him. Now, that was, I know you jump high, Jalen, but Victor's reach is what? He's Victor's 7'4", 7'2". How big is his wingspan? Like, you gotta Ja Morant jump in order to dunk on Victor. Like, you got an Anthony Edwards jump. And don't get me wrong, Jalen can jump, but Ja Morant and Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards, they got that little bit more that go. Jalen got that. They got that. Yee. So Sengun going 70%, over 70% from the paint the last 2 games, has opened up the floor and has made Fred VanVleet a little bit more effective. Like I said, let me do the math right quick. All right, I'm gonna have to carry the one. Somebody let me use their hands to count too, because I'm good at math, but when you start carrying the one and doing the Pythagorean theorem and all that. So that's 44. Let me see, 44. 16, that's 60. So 60.7 divided by 3, that's 20.3. 3 games prior to the Knicks, playing the Knicks and the Spurs, Fred Van Fleet was only shooting 20% from the field. Now, let's see. Last two games. Now the Shingun has opened up the floor. Let's see. Seven. That's 147. 147 divided by two. That's seven. That's three. 0. 73.5%. Hey, I'm good at math, y'all. I'm good at math. Just use the phone. It's 2024. No, Mo Bees. Hey, I gotta put that up there. Look, Mo Bees say just use the phone. It's 2024. No, man. I'm old school, bro. I'm about to be 53 years old. I still do this. Carry the one, the Pythagorean theorem, and with the isosceles triangle, and I can definitely use Pavlov's dog's theory to, yeah, 73.5%. So I love the fact that Shingun has taken the coaching from Coach Udoka and has seen what he needs to see and is doing exactly what he needs to do in order to be to be more effective on the floor and taking the listening to what Coach Udoka says and not sulking about it and not hold on for a second, not sulking and not looking at it one way and saying the coach is just picking on me. And I love the fact that he has said, you know what, all right, if this is what coach thinks, then this is exactly what I need to do. Hold on for a second, y'all. I'm doing something. Whoa. Hold on. I need to just nope. Let me get back here for a second. All right. Let me see if I can do that. What is going on with my screen? I told y'all they doing something over here, man. Some ain't right with this. Some ain't right. They doing something wrong over here. What is going on? These people, man, I tell you the truth. Every time I try to do something right, they always trying to get me to do something wrong. All right. So, like I said, I love the fact that he is being able to be, let's just say this. I like the fact that he's being able to be coached. What is going on with this freaking YouTube? I'm going to do it this way, y'all. Let's just do it this way because I need this for my next segment. All right, there we go. Let me do this. All right, I'm back. I told y'all something ain't right. Something ain't right with StreamYard. StreamYard is doing something really, really weird. Don't worry. By the time we come back off for the weekend, I'm gonna have that thing. I'm gonna have that thing together. All right. Now that we finished talking about the Rockets, let's get to talk about the Texans. So you see in the title, right? You see in the title that the Texans are not afraid of the Lions. We know that the Detroit Lions is by far one of the best teams in the league, if not the best. Some people still think that the Kansas City Chiefs are really good because of their record. But when I'm watching these teams play, I'm saying to myself, no, you're looking at a Houston. I mean, you're looking at a Detroit Lions team that is by far and away the best team in the league. Let's go through week one. They lost. I mean, I'm sorry, week one, they beat the Rams 26-20. Then they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20-16. They beat the Cardinals 20-13. Then after that, they beat the Seahawks 42-29. They beat the Cowboys 47-9. They beat the Vikings 31-29. They beat Tennessee 52-14, and they beat Green Bay 24-14 on last week. And that game, if I think if they're playing in better conditions, they blow the Green Bay Packers out as well. Like if you looked at the weather conditions last week when the Lions and the Packers played, it was very, very, very horrible weather conditions. And when you have a running game like they have, then you could depend on that running game. You can just keep feeding the rock to Jameer Gibbs and to David Montgomery. They have the best 1-2 punch. They have the best 1-2 punch there is. Hold on. Hey, Reverend Broderick Brooks Sr., how you doing? Welcome. I've never seen you here before, but I appreciate it. How you doing? It's called the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. Now, if you want strictly Texans talk, I am co-host of the Locked On Texans podcast. So you can subscribe to that podcast and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. We just did a whole show. I mean, there's a Friday edition. 5 days a week, you're going to get Locked On Texans talk. This right here, this is the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. Bro, I opened up the show talking about marriage license should be renewed, have to be renewed. I opened up this show talking about how if I give you a gift, if I give you a wedding gift, if you get divorced before 5 years, you owe me money back. Talk about terms and conditions. Like this one a little bit different. Going on over to Locked On Texans. That's strictly Texans talk. Here, this is the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. We talk about everything. Everything. Now, getting back to the Lions. The Lions, they have a great 1-2 punch. And when I started looking at film of the Lions and what makes them so good, I went to one particular game. And that was the game. Oh yeah, hey, Mr. Brooks. For real though, Mr. Brooks, I just be laughing, joking, playing over here. But we are an interactive show. But this show, we talk about everything over here. And you know, I'm getting to the Texans now, but I cover the Houston Texans and I cover the Houston Rockets. So there will be Rockets talk on this show as well because I cover both teams and I like to give them equal amount of time. The Houston Rockets season is very, very still early on. They haven't even played 10 games in the season yet, but there was something that went on with Alperen Şengün, the one of the stars for the Houston Rockets, that the change has come about. And so we got, Rockets fans over here as well who support the Rockets, who are fans of the Rockets and the Texans. And so they understand what's going on. And so that's why I try to, when I'm talking about it, I know everybody is not a Rockets fan, so I preface my stuff. So as I digress. Hey, look, Texans fans, if you really, really, really want to get a sense of who the Detroit Lions are, go to the game where they played against the Tennessee Titans. I don't know if some of y'all know this or not, but the Tennessee Titans, they got the number one defense in the NFL. The number one defense in the NFL in yards allowed. The number one. Let me. They got the number one defense, y'all. And the Lions beat them 52-14. You know who the number two defense in the NFL is? Houston Texans. Yards allowed. It's the Houston Texans. You don't want the Detroit Lions to come into NRG Stadium on Sunday night and embarrass you. You don't want them to come in here and embarrass you like that. You don't want them to come in here and do those type of things to you. You can't allow it. That can't happen. But the way that they beat that that Tennessee Titans team 52-14, the way that they were able to beat that team, you have to go back. That's the game you need to look at. Because the Titans and the Texans run a lot of similar type schemes when it comes to defense. And I feel like if the Texans were doing their homework, they will go back and they will see how the Lions were so effective against the Titans. A lot of that stuff we all know. And I'm getting ready to put a video out here pretty soon. I talked to Henry Toa on Thursday and Aziz Al-Shair about being able to control Jared Goff within 10 yards. Jared Goff is not going to throw the ball deep. He's not a quarterback who looks for explosive plays. He's one of those quarterbacks who Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Detroit Lions, said earlier this week that I mean not Dan Campbell, excuse me, offensive coordinator Ben Johnson for the Detroit Lions said that when he was playing, he played quarterback with a person when he was in college, and he asked him, he's like, "Hey man, you think we can go 18 for 18?" He's like, "I don't think you can go 18 for 18, but I do think you can go 1 for 1 18 times." You see what I'm saying? I don't think you can go 18 for 18, but I do think that you can go 1 for 1 18 times. And so, with that being said, that's Jared Goff's mindset when you watch him play. He's just trying to move the ball. And if you go back and you listen to what Cam Newton, former NFL quarterback, said last year, which by the way, hey, that 4th and 1 podcast is amazing by Cam Newton. But if you go back and you listen to what he said, and he was talking about game managers, you look at Jared Goff, he's the ultimate game manager. That completion percentage is amazing, but it's as high as it is for a reason. It's as high as it is for a reason because he keeps everything within a 10-yard window. And that's where the Houston Texans are going to have to be effective at on the defensive side of the ball. That front seven is going to have to play in unison when it comes to that. One thing that I do like that the Houston Texans linebackers do, and this is you got to tip your hat to linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, who has taught Henry Toa this too. Field of depth. And what I mean by field of depth is being able to watch the quarterback while watching what's around you while still being able to drift. And what I mean by that is when they're playing zone, right? When they're playing zone, they're watching the quarterback and they're watching who's coming into they have certain areas that they need to be in the zone. And if they don't see anybody in their zone, what they tend to do is drift back because as long as they can see what's in front of them and nothing's in front of them, that means all of the action is going on behind them. So they need to just try to watch the quarterback, see where he's going to get into his passing lane. If you want a prime example, of what that means, I'm going to give you 2 examples. Go back to the first game against the Indianapolis Colts where they got that their second big touchdown play. The second big touchdown play. This is in week 1. If you go back, when you see the receiver crossing across the field, you'll see Azeez Al-Shaair, and he's drifted so far back that he's far on the field, but there's nothing in front of him, and the ball tips his hand. But he told me that he kept drifting because there wasn't nothing in front of him. Go back and watch that Buffalo Bills game. If you watch that Buffalo Bills game, you'll see that Azeez Al-Shaair almost had 2 interceptions, and what he did was what? Field of depth, getting back, looking. And so with the Detroit Lions and what they love to do with Amon-Ra St. Brown and what they like to do with Laporta is eat you up, eat that defense alive from the inside, right there, working all in that 10 yards and in. They love to beat you like that. And when they get you focused on that, because you're already focused on the running game. So you're focused on the running game, you're focused on the 10 yards, and then you got to worry about Jameson Williams taking the top off of the defense. He's their speedster. He's their go guy. And so that's what makes offensive coordinator Ben Johnson so good. That's what makes Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson so good, is because with everything that he has at his disposal, with a two-headed monster coming out of the backfield, with wide receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Williams, and with a tight end like Laporta, being able to get everything going, being able to be effective with Jared Goff and what he's doing, that's what makes them so effective, because he knows how to get the ball to his talent. He knows how to get the ball to everybody who needs to touch the ball. Shouldn't that be the same thing that we should be saying about Bobby Slowick at this point? I said all of that. I did say all of that to get to here. Ain't that what we should be saying about the Houston Texans and their offense? You got the quarterback in CJ Stroud. You got the running back in Joe Mixon. You had the wide receivers, and we know Nico's been out. There's still a chance and a possibility that Nico could return. They may keep him out, hold him out one more game, but he could return. And if he does, you get him the ball, you get Tank the ball, you look at how to incorporate incorporate Stover and Schultz. We've been talking about that for I don't know how long. Bobby told us yesterday we just have to be better at every level. We have to execute. Yeah, that's the point, Bobby. That's the point of everything. You always want to execute. You always want to be better. But just like I said, he should watch what Kevin O'Connell is doing in Minnesota and what Matt LaFleur is doing in Green Bay. Hey, Bobby, if you want to take away anything this week, you better watch Ben Johnson and the way he's able to call a game. You should that should be you should say, hey, look, I got to see this. You should have been watching that the last couple of weeks, last 4 or 5 weeks, the way that they have been dominating teams. It's okay to be a copycat, Bobby. In this league, it's okay to be a copycat. They copycat all the time in this league. And so you should be able to say, hey, this week, let me tell you something. This week, we should be able to see similar plays. Oh, man, that was a nice play the Lions just ran. Did Texas just run the same play? Ain't nothing wrong with that, Bobby. If the only thing that's anything's wrong with that is that if your pride gets in the way. Ben Johnson is one hell of a offensive coordinator. Now, with that being said, let me take you back to this Titans game real quick. There was a play that I watched, right? I don't know if you all I don't know if any of you all got a chance to do the film study or to watch the Detroit Lions versus Tennessee Titans. Jahmyr Gibbs had a 70-yard run off of a basic play. The Titans had 6 in the box, 2 high safeties, 2 high, then they staggered the safeties a little bit. The Lions ran a motion. All they did was brought Laporta from one side to the other side in the motion. Snapped the ball, handed the ball off to Jahmyr Gibbs. The Detroit Lions blocked that thing up so well that a 5-yard run turned into a 70-yard. What was supposed to be a 5-yard run. The expected yards on that play was 5 yards. What that 5-yard play turned into a 70-yard touchdown run. He was only expected to get 5 yards. Got 70 because of the blocking and because of 2 things. No, I'm sorry. 2 things because of the blocking, and the other thing is because of the motion. Now, what I need you all to do, if you got a pen and a piece of paper, or since it's 2024, use your phone, put down motion in your phone. Write this down, right? Write this down because we're going to come back to it. A play that was only supposed to be 5 yards, a run play that was only supposed to be 5 yards, turned into a 70-yard touchdown. What I tell y'all to write down? Well, what I tell y'all to excuse me, what did I ask you all to write down? I tell you, what did I ask you to write down? Motion, right? That's where a lot of the action happens for the Detroit Lions. And that's where that's where I feel like the Houston Texans defense needs to be watching and don't get caught up in all that pre-snap movement. Because in that same game, right? In that same game against the Tennessee Titans, that expected 5-yard run that turned into a 70-yard touchdown run, in that same game, David Montgomery in the red zone threw a touchdown pass to Laporta. Halfback pass to Laporta. All that was based off of what was seen. There's motion on that play. On another play, where I don't remember who Jared Goff threw the touchdown pass to, but I think it was a tight end. They brought the tight end from the left side to the right side. They had two wide receivers already, um, two wide receivers stacked right there, already at the end of the line. They had two wide receivers in a condensed formation, but it was three defensive backs over there. They brought the tight end, the other tight end in motion, and when he snapped the ball, Goff did a play action fake to the running back. As he's faking it, the man that has come in motion is going in between, no, going right off the backside of one of the wide receivers. As soon as they snap the ball to play fake, he's coming off the backside. What the inside wide receiver has done is picked off the third defensive back, making it look like he's trying to go into the route, but he's picking him. And all that happened because of motion. When I went back and I went and looked at some other plays, what the Detroit Lions love to do is they'll get you going with the running, with the dumping, with the running, with the dumping, and then they'll start mixing and matching with those motions. That motion has I watched that motion also destroy the Dallas Cowboys defense. And let me say this: the Dallas Cowboys defense is nothing compared to what the Houston Texans defense is or the Tennessee Titans defense is. But the motion, and it's funny. It's funny because what Ben Johnson what Ben Johnson has done is he remember what Jared Goff was very good at. I'm going to take you back to the year that Jared Goff was with the Rams and they went to the Super Bowl. Who I don't remember what year it was, but the year that they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots. They had to play the Dallas Cowboys in during the playoffs. I don't know if it's week 1 or week 2, but they played the Dallas Cowboys. And the one way that they were able to beat the Dallas Cowboys is because for some reason the linebackers could not understand what motion was. They could not understand what's going on once they put a player in motion. What Ben Johnson has done is taken some of those Sean McVay plays where Jared Goff was very effective, and he's using that. He's using that because he knows this is where he thrives at. This is where he's very good at. And they're using that exact same, a lot of those exact same plays. And they have really good personnel to be able to pull those plays off. The Detroit Lions know exactly who they have in Jared Goff. They know exactly what they have and exactly what they can and cannot do with him. Now, with that being said, right? Refer to the title. None of those Texans defensive players that I've talked to this week, they know the Lions record. They know who the Lions are. They know that they consider the number one team in the NFL. Somebody asked Tim Settle Jr. a question, the defensive lineman for the Houston Texans. Someone asked him a question and said, you're going up against a really, really good team. And Tim stopped and was like, hey, we're a really good team too. CJ Stroud, hey, they got a good team over there, but we're a really good team too. They're not afraid. They give them all the respect. Talking to Aziz on Thursday, hey, he gives them nothing but the utmost respect. But he says, we have a good team too. And I do believe, I know we're talking about, and we want Nico. I know we want Nico back. Everybody wants Nico back. Yes. But you also need Will Anderson back too if you want to beat this team. I know that there's no way you can get Stephon Diggs back, but if you can get Nico back and if you can get Will back, I think that a fully healthy Houston Texans team will give this Detroit Lions team a run for their money. And I don't think that it will come down to the players on the field. I think that this game is going to come down to who's the better coach, who can call the better offensive plays, who can call the better defensive plays. With that being said, one of the reasons why you do want Nico back, the Detroit Lions does not have a good defense, y'all. I don't know where this thing came from, where everybody thinks that the Detroit Lions is just a complete football team. Because as effective as they are on the offensive side of the ball, they lack. They got like a bend but don't break type of defense. And with Aiden Hutchinson out, I know you're getting Zadarius Smith. You got Zadarius Smith doing the trade deadline. That don't mean nothing. What that mean? He's not Aiden Hutchinson. But when you got offensive line issues, goes back to coaching. Chris Strausser. You know what? I'm trying to bring that up real quick, and that's the problem that I'm having is bringing this up. So let me see if I could. Let me share my screen real quick and let you all listen to what offensive line coach Chris Strausser said on yesterday. Is this it? Yeah. Let me bring this up. Let me see if I can bring it up. Here we go.
What do you see as the crux of the pass protection issue as you guys try to protect Stroud?
Yeah, I think we just got to do a better job. Me specifically of just coaching some of the, both the details of what we're doing, technique wise. Probably really the starting point is the technique stuff has shown up really more than anything else. So we got to do a better job of emphasizing it during the week and making sure when we show up on game day, everybody in the unit's got complete confidence in exactly what we're doing up front. So I think we're halfway through the season. We certainly haven't protected how we want to. We feel really good about the strides we know we can make and focus on some of the stuff that has shown up week in and week out.
What has been some of the issues with the stunts and the delayed blitzes?
Stunts are always a challenge. I mean, there's a reason that defenses do stunt on third down because there's some challenges with it. So to me, it all goes back to starting with just like being really good at one-on-one pass protection because you get that done. And then the next step, the next phase is to be able to handle a stunt. And a lot of what goes into handling a stunt is the same stuff that goes into being a really good one-on-one protector. So, there's a lot of little things that we know that as we really studied, we had that extra 3 days to really kind of go back and look at some stuff and really see some stuff that consistently has shown up as issues and stuff. Again, like I said, that I need to go back and do a better job as a coach to get these guys locked into better and find a way to drill it better and make sure when we show up on Sunday that everybody's got complete confidence in what we're doing.
What is that, like the percentage of these guys? Do they have the ability to execute what you're asking them to? And then also identifying what's about to happen and being in the right place to execute.
Yeah, everybody in the unit for sure has the ability to play. Like they wouldn't be here if we didn't think they could play. And so, yes, everybody in the unit for sure has the ability to do it. There's always going to be some challenges on third down stuff, I think, across the league in terms of recognizing some of the stuff that's going to come. But I think that's an area that, I know that's an area that we can take some strides and, improve on. And so we can, like I said, a lot of that goes back to just what we do during the weekend practice and how we get them, a little bit better prepared for what we're anticipating seeing. And there's always going to be something that shows up game day that we didn't anticipate seeing.
Sorry, Jonathan, just to follow up on that, the same problem has shown up like for multiple weeks now. What point do you just on third down, the lack of pass protection in general has gotten worse over 3 weeks. I guess the worst in the NFL right now last week. How does that get better over scheme or coaching? Like, do you guys need to change?
I just look at it for me. The scheme it's I believe a proven scheme. It's been used in this system for a lot of years, and so to me, it always goes back to like I always come to work in the morning and know that whatever shows up on tape goes back to me. And so that's my starting point is how do I do it better and how do I get this unit to play better and all those things.
Yes, it seems like the interior has really taken the brunt of where the pressure has come from. Particularly Kenyon Green struggled some. What did you think about where he was and kind of how he finished?
Yeah, Kenyon's done great. I mean, really, honestly, like if we're looking at the big picture of where Kenyon was when I got here and the type of offseason he had, the type of training camp that he had, came out week one against the Colts, really playing on fire, did really well in the run game. Didn't have the same pass protection opportunities that week one that maybe we did as the season went on. By no means is it one guy. That to me, that's an easy out there. We know there's a lot of guys involved, and Kenyon, I really think of this really being his rookie season, right? That first year he was here, played some, got hurt. Last year he didn't play at all. This year coming back off an injury and really getting back into the mix. And so I think he went through some, also this is his first time in our offense here, right? So he went through some, typical rookie struggles, but by no means is Kenyon the only guy.
Why do you think that last year, seemed like y'all were changing offensive lines week to week. Why do you think the pass blocking was better last year as opposed to this year?
Yeah, again, I just think, every year is a different year for whatever reason. And that for us at this point in the season really is our major challenge as a unit, is finding a way to get better. I think last year, different guys being in there, that is what it is. And you hate to have to switch guys around like that. So, yeah, I really don't know compared to last year. Yeah.
Chris, it's a
Take a
prideful
couple more
group,
guys.
and talking to
Say it again.
it's a prideful group. These
Yep.
guys, they take
Yep,
it to heart. They say that it's pretty obvious, the emotions.
Yep.
As a group, what is it like for you guys, the reaction? Because obviously you want to keep the quarterback
Sure.
clean. You want him to be able to do well.
We believe we got the best guy in the NFL, and our guys love playing for that guy, and just the tremendous plays that this guy makes really for us, is hugely important. And so, nobody's happy with the fact that we're struggling in pass protection right now. I mean, everybody wants to do better, starting with myself, but, everybody across the board wants to do better. And so, just like you said, it is a prideful group, and those guys care tremendously about taking care of our quarterback.
A lot of that. Go ahead, John.
You guys have used Titus at left guard before. You have Blake Fisher. Has there been any thought to changing that rotation?
We're always talking personnel, or really every week, good or bad. We've had, as we know, some good weeks, and we're still talking personnel because, we're always trying to figure out what the best five is, what the best mix is, not try and move guys too much because it's a challenge at this point in the season in week to have to move guys from one spot to other. So, but, really everybody that's on our roster is in play.
I know that a lot.
What do these last two right here, guys?
Go ahead, Coach.
How much of what the pass protection and getting ready for a play falls on to Juice and kind of his role and how he's done in that?
Yeah, there's always going to be extra responsibility on the center, whether it's pass, run, whatever it is. And again, I think of this at center a little bit for Juice as his rookie year. He missed most of last year, 2/3 of it, and then came in and played guard. And so this is still some newness to him with it, but by no means does it fall on him. I mean, he's really has done a good job, and he's progressed each week. And so, yeah.
With that being said, him and CJ have only really played together like 11 games
Yep.
together, and they're still learning each other.
Yep.
How can they, going forward, how can they get on the same page, maybe communicate a little bit better to, recognize some of the things that's happening?
Yeah, well, nobody likes to hear it, but a lot of times the best way to get better is to go out there and make mistakes, right? So those guys are out there in the arena playing, doing their stuff, competing like we want them to do. Again, by no means is it in the ballpark of where we want it to be, but I think as long as we, find a way to learn from those mistakes and get better, Juice and CJ playing together is only going to get better.
All right, thank you. All right, so that was Houston Texans offensive line coach Chris Strausser. For some of you all who subscribe to the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show, as far as through YouTube, you had heard that before, but I want to make sure that those who hadn't, and if you hadn't, I don't know why you ain't, because you should be subscribed to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media. But there were some interesting things that he said in there. We don't have to rehash everything, but one of the things I do like is that he did come, like, he wasn't scheduled to speak. We asked to speak to him, and he said, okay. And he came in and he spoke to us because he says that this ultimately falls on me. Everything falls on me, and I got to do a better job. Of course, the coach speak, but for him to even come in there to talk with us, to speak with us, and take that type of accountability is cool. And so, I'm looking forward to some of the changes that they're going to make on this offensive line here. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can get themselves back together. And the reason why I said what I said before that, and when I was talking about the Detroit Lions defense, is that if this Texans offense can protect CJ long enough, I think that they can compete with the Detroit Lions. They definitely are not afraid of them. So if they can give CJ the amount of time that he needs, I think that they could beat this team. And I'm going to be honest with you, even if Nico Collins doesn't come back, if he has the amount of time to be able to do Jared Goff type things, and I don't mean as far as I'm not talking about quarterbacks. I'm not comparing them as quarterbacks. What I'm talking about, if he's able to do scheme type stuff, like what has made Jared Goff so effective, if he's given the time to be able to pick apart a defense and then open up other things, especially listen, the Detroit Lions have a two-headed monster in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery as far as running back concerned, but the Houston Texans got a damn good running back in Joe Mixon. And so they can use their running game just as well and as effective as what the Detroit Lions are doing. And so if he's given that opportunity and that time to be able to see, because even against the Jets, there were times where John Mechie was open. There was time when Xavier Hutchinson was open. CJ couldn't get the ball to them because he did not have the time. And even if he did have the time, he was so used to getting hit. He was so used to getting hit. He was ineffective. And he even admitted he could have got the ball out quicker sometimes, but sometimes I feel like CJ put that cape on when he doesn't have to. And what I mean by that is, because I know some of y'all are going to try to clip this up, so let me make sure I clarify that. What I mean by is sometimes he doesn't have to be Superman. He could be effective as Clark Kent. Oh, hold on, Sarge. That was good. Clip that. Sometimes the Texans don't need Superman. They just need Clark Kent. I can't even back that up, man. I'm just like, that's all I can say. Sheesh, that was good. As I digress, we're getting ready to find out here within the next 15, 20 minutes what's going to happen. Because the Houston Texans are going to be practicing here in the next 15 minutes. I'm going to get myself over to NRG Stadium so I can report on that as well. I may be back. Who's back? Let me see. Y'all give me a second. I'm going to make a phone call while I'm on air. Y'all hold on for a second. What's going on, buddy? Yeah, I should. Yeah, I'm gonna be headed over. I'm still doing my show right now. As a matter of fact, I'm talking to you while I'm talking to you while I'm on my show, and I don't but they don't know who I'm talking to, and so I because I trust you more than I trust anybody else when it comes to the media. So have you heard that Nico's back? Yeah, and that's what I was thinking as well. So like I said, yeah, I didn't for sure. Gotcha. All right, man. I'll see you soon. All right. All right. Well, so as of now, there's no change. As of now, they haven't announced, and that's somebody that's at NRG Stadium right now. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna the Texans official account posted it. They did. Let me go look, y'all. Hold on. Y'all breaking news to me. Oh, okay. Thank y'all. Hold on. He doesn't know. Oh, hold on. He doesn't know. Hold on. He doesn't know yet. Thank y'all. I appreciate that. Woo! So now that he's cleared to practice, right? Now that we know that 12 will be back. Well, I mean, I gotta hurry up and get over there because I get to talk to him today, and I'm talking to him exclusively. So y'all make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm going to talk to Nico Collins exclusively. They should allow him to talk. If he's designated for practice, he's allowed to talk. So, with that being said, let me tell you this. I'm finally glad I can get this off my chest now. It's funny because yesterday, Nico wasn't at practice during the media session. But after the media left, Nico came onto the field where the players who are coming off of IR or who's on IR or who are hurt, they practice on the field. And from what I was told, Nico looked damn good on that field. Looked damn good. And so when I was talking to some people, they was like, man, Nico didn't even practice yesterday. I said, and I reported that he didn't practice while we were there. We didn't see Nico at all. But afterwards, Nico came out and he practiced on that side field. And practicing on that side field. Now, maybe one day, I'm not gonna even lie to y'all like that because I ain't gonna tell y'all that. All right, so look, y'all know how we do it here, right? Now, listen. Oh, this opens up a lot for the Houston Texans. I got to get over the NRG, y'all. I got to get over the NRG. But y'all know how we do it here. I damn sure ain't finna leave without jumping into some of these comments, man. Listen, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for y'all. So, hold on. Nope, he's back. Let me see. Sorry, sleeping on the couch. I better stop playing. Let me jump down. We all got a chance to talk to him, no problem. Texans are not afraid, but they should be. They're not afraid, especially not since they got 12 back. Let's talk about it over Christmas dinner. That's the Alper and Shingun talk. Let me jump down in here. Yep. Him being named captain is awesome. Our offense has to control the ball and cash in when we get to the red zone. Exactly. That's what Nico and Bobby gave me that same answer this week about getting into the red zone and scoring. Let me see. I watched Joe Burrow sit behind a bad O-line and drop dimes all night. CJ, quit turning your back to the defense, spinning around and stay in the pocket and cut up that secondary of the lines. They call me Mr. Nobody. That's a good take. I think the Texans have something to prove this week. They've been listening to all the naysayers. Exactly. Let me see. See, he's not control this offense. Juice is calling out protection. CJ needs to get the team to the line at least 20 seconds left and call out his own protections. That's not okay. The Texans don't know how to run a screen. I believe statistically they have the worst success rates on their screens. That will slow them down. What's up, Tula? Next to Eddie Judge Jerome bet down here, run 25 no matter what. Yep. See what AD said when he's talking to the old line. I bet he sounds like that Charlie Brown teacher to them. Wah, 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 wah. Ah, that's hilarious. They need them wins 1 versus 1. Keep the pocket clean and pick up on the blitz. Yep. Tired of hearing the same old stuff. We got to win now. Protect our quarterback. Yep. Let's see what Sarah has to say. The fact that he isn't the Texas known to interview anyone other than yep. The only reason stunts are effective is because the guard is ignoring his assignment. If the defensive tackle in front of you attack your outside shoulder, he is setting you up for an inside move from the defensive end. Hey, they call Mr. Nobody. That is the number. Yes. Titus struggles at left guard. Please don't move him. Yeah, it won't be Titus moving the left guard. You're not coaching anything. We're getting out coached and outplayed. Yep. Hold on. Hold on. What is this? Okay. Nico is back. Anyone of these exits started this trend? I'm not putting that damn mouthpiece in. Doesn't make any sense. Oh man. What up, Amy? Thank you, Brian. I did not know that. They just announced it while I was on the phone. So that is amazing. You gotta buy a drone so you can do some spying for us in the sky. I knew you was on that with that tweet earlier. What you talking about? What you talking about, Corey? What you talking about? What I do? What I do, Corey? Look, we're gonna do this a couple of more minutes. Let me apologize up front for not being at NRG Stadium and giving you all the film and the video of Nico being back on the field today. I will definitely share from my colleagues who is going to put that out. And like I said, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to him. Damn, Corey. You got me. Yeah. Hey. When you got me, man. All right, listen. Corey, you know I'm one of them ones, bro. I'm last of a dying breed. I'm a real one. If you got me, you got me. Corey, was I trying to hit him with the yee? And I hit him with the woo, because you got me on this one, Corey. But I bet you ain't get me on the other ones. The other gems I've been dropping throughout this entire show. I bet you don't know what those are. Now you like to say it's the Sarge and AD show. AD know. Yee! Woo! So now, with that being said, let me go ahead. Now we got a couple. Listen, hey, look, if y'all don't mind, hey, drop it in the comments if y'all don't mind me staying here and taking up your time just a little bit more. If you don't mind me staying here, taking up your time and spending time with Big Sarge, that's just a little bit more time, then just hold on for a second. Let me park here for a second and talk with y'all. Let me tell you what Nico coming back does for the Houston Texans. You will see now that defense has to adjust. No matter how long he's been out, he's still a big target. He's an effective target. And let me see some, y'all. Hold on. Let me close out some of these things. Close that out. Let's see, what is this? Yeah, I can close this out too. Let's go to the stats real quick, y'all. Hold on. I gotta put this back on Do Not Disturb. Oh wow, that's amazing. Got something from my grandkids' school, my granddaughters. Let me go and look at these stats real quick, y'all, if y'all don't mind. Give me a second. What are we looking for? Receiving yards, right? So Jamar Chase, who had a hell of a game last night, has 981 yards receiving. He's the number one wide receiver. Nico has only played in 5 games. He's at number 14 at 567. If Nico has 150-yard receiving game, he's going to jump right back up into it. And like I said earlier, Nico is one of those. Nico was the best receiver in the NFL before he went out with injury. Hold on. I swear, if you heat one more time. My bad, J Perp. Woo! That better than he? So, you know what the best thing about Nico coming back though is that last week against the Jets, Tank and CJ were able to get on the same page on a couple of plays. Now I think that it's going to be totally different. And this may sound bad, and I hope that don't nobody take this the wrong way, because I don't mean it I don't mean it with malicious intent. I don't mean it to be sarcastic. I'm not joking. I'm not trolling. I'm being for real. With Nico coming back, you may see a totally different, more effective offense with just him and Tank compared to him, Tank, and Stephon. I enjoyed and I love the idea of having all three of them as well. But with this offense and with the way Joe Mixon is running, maybe not having to make sure that Stephon Diggs gets touches may be a little bit more effective for them. Maybe that's where the disconnect was between Bobby and the offensive play calling, because he felt like because he did have such a great wide receiver in Stephon Diggs on the field as well. He felt like he had to get him the ball. This may open up the three-headed monster. Everybody's looking for the three-headed monster of, I'm sorry. Yeah, everybody's looking for the three-headed monster of Nico, Stephon, and Tank. And then, during training camp, they said we have a five-headed monster, include Dalton Schultz and Joe Mixon. And so just taking Joe Mixon out of the mix because he's a running back, this may be the three-headed monster that you all we'll see when it comes to Tank, Nico, and Dalton Schultz. And it also, a lot of y'all sleep on this fact, but I'm going to tell you this. It also opens the door for Robert Woods to get more possession touches. Because for as good as Nico is, for as good as Tank is, Robert Woods is the best possession wide receiver that the Houston Texans have, and he's very effective in helping you move the chain on, when you need 5 yards or less, 7 yards or less. He's one of those guys who can get the ball. You're not going to get a whole lot of yak yards out of Robert Woods, but you're definitely going to be able to move the chain if you can find him. And so this may help this Houston Texans offense now that they have their top two wide receivers in Tank and Nico. And this is, I feel like, what you're going to be able to see now that Tank and Nico are back together is what you all were robbed of last year when Tank got hurt after, was it week 7 Tank got hurt in? I think it was week 7. Week 7, I think, is when he got hurt, and then a lot of the responsibility fell on Nico. But I think now with those two, and then this year, Tank had to play without Nico. Tank missed the game. Then Tank had to play without Nico. Tank had to play without Stephon. Now he's playing with Nico and Tank together, I think, along with Robert Woods, and especially with Mechie and Hutch being able to get some reps, you're going to see what this Houston Texans offense, as far as the receiver position, is going to be like in the future. I think this will open up the door for Cade Stover to be able to get more touches. I think that, like I said, Dalton Schultz, but Cade Stover, who's going to take over for Dalton Schultz when he leaves. I don't think that they'll re-sign him. I don't think so, because they have Cade Stover, and then you get back Brevin Jordan, who's another athletic tight end. They're setting themselves up to be really good. If they can fix their interior offensive line issues, you're looking at what the Texans could be. And, this lineup against the Lions, this offensive lineup against the Lions could be the future for the Houston Texans. So it's good to have Nico back. All right, hold on, y'all know, because let me jump back into these comments. Come on, Sarge, we know you good for the time. I appreciate it. Nico, two tutties. Hey, I can see that. They don't have the best. They don't. Nico said, y'all see Chase go off last night? That's me. I'm him. You ain't lying, Sarah. CJ needs to stop circling around and make turns to get away from defenders and then have to reposition his body to throw an arm to get the ball downfield. He has to do a lot of moving in that pocket, more than he wants to, but that's because that pocket is breaking down. I'd like to see Collinsdale, Mechie, and Schultz on the field at the same time. That ain't bad. Mechie and Hutch gonna show out as well. That could be the reason why we didn't pick up another wide receiver via trade. Yeah. Alexis says she don't trust Dalton. Why? Why you don't trust Dalton Schultz? Very good question, Frank. Thank you. Finally, somebody else who agrees with me. Woods is slept on. Who is this? Broken tubing. What that mean? Is it tubing or tubbing? Hungry Lions will eat. The Lions like to drop 40 in Texas. You think the Lions gonna put 40 points up on the Texans? Yeah. Broken, tubbing, tubing. Where you from? This ain't the Texans ain't the Titans, my guy. The Texans ain't the Cowboys. They've been playing bad, but they ain't letting nobody, that the Minnesota Vikings dropped a lot of points on them, but it was a lot of things that happened in that game for them to get beat like that. A lot of stuff happened inside with the short field for Sam Darnold. Let's not get it twisted. If they make him dink and dunk, it ain't gonna be no 40 points. They call me Mr. Nobody. Dalton Schultz, the slowest human being on the field, other than the reps. He has no wiggle in him, and straight line speed is definitely not there, but he can catch. That's all you need him to do. Shouldn't we be optimistic to be at the top of AFC and still not have to have it come all together yet? Yeah, that's true. That's 6-3. That 6-3 is one of them ones where you just be like, hey man, having Nico this week is huge because of the distraction he's going to bring with Tank finally for his rhythm. We're going to have a good Sunday night. Yeah, I know Nico had to come back on prime time, man. We will discuss Nico coming back and more tonight at 7:30 on Central Standard Time on the H-Town Rundown on YouTube and the app formerly known as Twitter. Y'all see that AD now? They do a great show over there on the H-Town Rundown. Diana, we already discussed that. He's back. All I can say is let's go. All right. Having Aziz back is going to be bigger than people realize. Yes, Darren, I talked about that earlier. Yes. He's going to put people into place. You put afraid in your title for a reason. Hey, bro, we from Texas. You know what? There's a song by one of the great Negro poets from Texas called Big X the Plug. It's called Texas. The song is called Texas. And the very first verse of the song go, and I'm not going to curse because I don't want to get demonetized and I ain't trying to offend nobody, but he used the B word. So he go, it rhymes with Mitch. So let's just say it rhymes with Mitch. So I'm going to use Mitch. He goes, Mitch, I'm from Texas. Do you know what that means, broken? Do you? But I don't really think you know what that means. Like, in Texas, like we stand 10 toes down on everything, my guy. Well, I don't know what you identify as. I'm just going to call you my guy. Bro, we stand 10 toes down everything. Texas are not afraid of the Lions. They don't care how many points they've put up, on other teams, their record, what people consider them. Bro, this Texas. Yeah, I can't speak for no other state, but I damn sure can speak for Texas. And I damn sure can speak for the city of Houston. Who afraid? Bro, ain't nobody afraid. No matter how long people who move to Houston have been in Houston, as soon as they get here, they adapt the same mindset. Bro, we're from Texas, where we can put the majority of the 50 states in our state. I can put Michigan near El Paso and forget that Michigan is in El Paso. And this is nothing against the people of Michigan, of Detroit. We're just talking about the Lions right now. Bro, ain't nobody afraid. Afraid? Bro, let me tell you something. Which arm is it? This arm? Must be this arm. this on? Let me take your comment down first. I'll put it back up though. Is it this on? Yeah. It ain't the best. But you see that right there? That's the state of Texas, my guy, on my shoulder. They only have one city on it, Houston. Nobody afraid, my guy. Bro, the attitude of the team is the exact attitude of the city, which is the exact attitude of the state. That's why when you ask somebody from Texas where they from, they be like, I'm from Texas, bruh. I'm from Texas. We say that with our whole entire chest. Men and women, and whatever you identify as, whatever your pronoun is, if you're from Texas, the first thing you do is stick your chest out and say, I'm from Texas. Afraid? Afraid. I speak from personal experience. There ain't a player in that locker room that's afraid of any other player on any other team. I can tell you that for a fact. That's a fact. It's not something I heard. It's not my opinion. I know that for a fact. They're afraid. Respect, of course, but afraid. And you add that mindset on the fact that you in Texas and add that you're in Houston. Stop it. You worse than that Jimmy dude from the what? Hey, you know what, y'all? I think it's just something about the NFC North. Because he talking just as reckless as that Jimmy dude was for the Packers. Stop it. Sarah, what you say? This offensive lineup against the Lions could be future lineup, coach, or players. Ha, ha, ha. How do we get some good news about Will? Just hold on. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media, or follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Exactly, Darren. That's exactly what he says in the song. Shout out to them boys, and can't forget about them Texans. Hey. Yep, Jimmy Ward will be back. Hey, Marcus said it best. I would love to, but I don't have the rights. Man. Oh, sure. But I didn't say the Cowboys are not afraid of the Lions. Hell, are you new to football? Oh, my bad. You're new here. Let me tell you this, bro. Diehard Dallas Cowboy fan since 1975. Since knee high to a duck butt. Dallas Cowboy fan here. I report on the Texans. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Ask the people who support me, who've been around here, who has supported me all this time, what I said at the beginning of the season and have continued to say. See, I'm not one of them delusional Dallas Cowboys fans. I will tell you, and I said this before training camp started. What did I say, people? The Houston Texans got the best team in Texas. The Houston Texans are the best team in Texas. The Houston Texans are far and beyond, and this was at the beginning of the season, than the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to play next week. Hey, Broken, you should watch. Just because you came in and you did, and the Lions did what they did to the Cowboys defense ain't the Texans defense. Texas got the number 2 defense, and they're healthy. They're getting healthy. And if this Will Anderson Jr. Update, just wait. Dallas and Houston are 2 totally different places, my guy. Sorry. Right. Exactly. For sure. Preach. Where your defensive coordinator from? Houston. Went to high school at Nimitz, right? Where is your wait a minute? Where's your head coach? Hold on. Let me make sure I got this right. Dan Campbell. If I'm not mistaken, I know he played for the Cowboys. Let me see. That's not what I'm trying to do. Here we go. Huh. Dan Campbell, Clifton, Texas. It's the largest city in Bosque County, Texas. City's population was 3,465 at the 2020 census. What are we talking about here, Broken? Do I need to pull up where Aaron Glenn is from for you too? Okay. Respect the lines, not afraid. Exactly. Exactly. Be back for your excuses. Enjoy your day. Otherwise, thank you for coming, Broken. See you later. And even if the Texans lose, they ain't afraid. You can come back in here on Monday. We'll talk about it. We'll still be talking about it. Yep, he looked good. Needs it worried and concerned about if golf can make it. Exactly. So he still. We'll talk about that later, Darren. What? I think what you meant to say was they brought that Texas attitude to Detroit and helped turn Detroit around. Tell me how it worked when you had a non-Texas, a coach that wasn't from. You know what? I take that back. You had one who used to put a pen. Who used to have a pencil on a plastic play sheet. He ain't do nothing for you, huh? Stop it. All right. Exactly. Yes, he could be. He. All right, y'all. I really got to get up out of here now. Man, this has been fun. Broken gonna try to talk about y'all afraid, bro. Heck no. Have you? Hold on. Let me ask this before I go. Broken, have you ever met anybody from Texas, my guy? Like, evidently, you've never met anybody from Texas. You damn sure ain't met nobody from Houston if you gonna make those type of remarks. You've been tuned to the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube page at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And make sure you are subscribed to the Locked On Texans podcast, which is an amazing one that we drop for Friday. And the Locked On Texans YouTube page. Afraid. Boy, stop. Afraid. Hell, you think y'all do that at? I want to do that over here. Don't do it, Sarge. Don't do it, Sarge. I'm from Texas. I'm out.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work.